Hello, this is Everything and Nothing here. Somebody asked me to do some art tutorials on how to draw just a dragon, and I've never done that before, so let's give it a shot. What you'll need here is obviously some paper, a pencil, some lead, obviously, an eraser, and a pen to do some tracing afterwards. So typically when I draw, I start out with when I draw a dragon, I start out with a circle for the head. And you just want to draw a basic, doesn't have to be good, just stupid circle, right? And then you're going to want to draw a line for the neck, however you want it, depending on what pose the dragon's going to be in. This one's just going to be basic standing pose because I find that's the easiest. Next, you're going to want to draw something like a circle for the chest, and that's just going to be a bigger circle, and you're going to want this circle to be pretty big, bigger than the head and bigger than the waist circle. So I generally draw it about that size because I feel like that's a pretty good base chest circle. Now, when you draw the line through this, you're going to want to have it more up than centered. So, kind of draw it, you see how I'm doing that there with it more, here's the center, I'm drawing it a little bit higher up. So then you're going to want to draw it curved for the back because there's no such thing as straight lines in art. So you draw a little curved arched back and draw your waist, or not waist, but your I forget what it's called, your butt. We'll call it a butt. You draw your butt, and then oops, there goes my pen. Let's grab that, move those. And then you're just gonna once again stay above the center for the spine, and you're just gonna draw a base for the tail. Now the tail can do whatever the hell you want the tail to do. Or, heck, shh, I didn't say that. That's going to be blurred out. Nothing. There's the tail. Alright, so now that you have your basic base for the dragon, you're going to want to add, what you're going to want their legs to do. So, generally for a leg, you just want a line going kind of at an angle downwards, aiming at an angle towards the chest, and then another line that goes back towards the tail, and then another line that goes again at an angle towards the chest but more downward, and then a little footsie because we like footsies here. And then that's your back leg, and then here you're gonna do the front leg, which is a line going back towards the back leg, and then a line going up towards the chest again. Now you're going to want to draw your line out a little bit so that you can keep the feet level with them. And you see here, because I didn't draw that line first, I had the leg go down a little bit farther than it needs to. So just erase that and edit your leg until it looks like a leg. Generally, I draw from the chest down, but right now I'm just going to do from the ground up because I feel like that's going to be easier for me right now. And then your little footsie, and then you can erase this line here, like so. And then if you want, now I typically don't always do this, but sometimes I do, you're going to draw a line for the wing, which is just going to be a line going back, and then a line going forward, and then another line going back like that, like so. Then you're gonna go on to the head. Now for the head, it depends on what kind of dragon you're drawing. For instance, if this is a Wings of Fire dragon, which I don't know if any of y'all know Wings of Fire, but it's my favorite book series by T.Y.T. Sutherland, and you should totally check it out. It's amazing. Not sponsored. But yeah, that's generally the kind of dragon I draw, but I'm going to try and draw some kind of different dragon for this. which is going to be a little difficult because I normally just draw wings of fire dragons, but here we go. So for the snout, you're going to want to add like a little box at the end of the face, because that just helps you to make the snout in the right shape. You can draw the box like as far out as you want. Of course, not that far because that looks weird. But depending on like what you want the dragon to look like, depends on how thin or wide the snout is. So then I generally start at the mouth or like the nose and just draw like a little shape that's kind of like a half circle, I guess you could say, at the very end here. And then I go into the snout, and of course you don't want to let that line stay straight. You want to like put some dips and then go up to the forehead and try and make it as like rounded as possible or like angled as possible. Like, you don't want the lines to be straight because, I mean, have you ever seen a real creature that has like straight lines? I think not. I mean, even cats, like you look at their ears, people draw cat ears like this all the time. Like, ooh, it's a kitty, yay, ha ha ha, yeah, meow, cat. But like the ears don't really look like that. A real cat's ear looks more like a rounded tip, and it goes down and then woo, like that kind of. So that's like more what a real cat's ear would be like, but we're not doing cats right now, so shh, get out of here. But we are doing dragons. So after I do the forehead, I generally come back down to the nose and start to do like the mouth. And generally the mouth for me is like a dip upwards and then back down, and then another dip upwards and back down, and then from there I draw whether it's smiling or frowning, and this boy is gonna be smiling. Actually, I don't know if it's a boy right now, and let's just not give it a gender. This is a gender neutral dragon. And then I draw the bottom jaw. So here's the chin. It's gonna be a little bit rounded for this one. But for a chin, sometimes you can make it a little bit more like close to a straight line for like a sharper jaw. Generally, males have a sharper jaw and females have a rounder jaw. Since this one's gender neutral, I'm going to kind of do in the middle for both the jawbone here and the chin here, so it's not super sharp. Then you can, once you have this basic head shape, you can go ahead and erase the circle lines within it and the box lines for the snout, because you don't need them anymore. So there we have our basic head shape. Then we're going to go ahead and draw like a mildly straight-ish shape for the horns, kind of shaped like a rectangle-ish right here, right after the forehead. So the forehead leads into the horn, if that makes sense. And then you can go ahead and erase that little bit of circle. Boop, boop, gone. And then I'm going to add the eye real quick because, eyes. You can draw eyes however you want to draw eyes. It doesn't really matter. One of the easiest ways is to draw like a little triangle with a little circular kind of piece here. So there's an eye. Yay. And then you just draw like a little circle inside of there for the iris, and then a little line for the pupil, because it's a dragon, it's not a human, it's not going to have a circular eye unless it's like in a dark area. But this dragon's out in the sunlight, we'll say. Then we're going to draw an ear. You can draw ears however you want. This ear is going to be kind of like a wing-looking ear, just because I want it to, I guess. Ear, boop, ear, yay. That's not the best ear, but, you get the gist, right? I hope so. Because what else am I doing this video for? And then you're going to draw, like, the outer layer of the ear, which is just another kind of, like, weird-looking line. And then if you want, you can add, like, little details in there. So back to the horn. Horns can be whatever shape you want them to be. But for this horn, I'm going to do something that I've, like, literally never done before. And I'm going to make it one of those ram-like horns that, like, curls into itself, like so. I've never done that before. I don't know why, don't ask me, but that's what we're doing right now. Yay! So then you're gonna wanna like add some like features to the face. Let's say this dragon has like a beak. Woo, there's a beak. And add a little area for the nostril. And here's that nostril right there. And then let's add like an eyebrow, because brows, yay. And let's bring that in over to the nose to give it a nice like dragony feel, I guess. I don't know. I just felt like doing that. You don't have to do that. So this is what we have so far, obviously. After you finish the head, you can go along and start on the neck. I generally start right up at the crook of the horn, where the horn meets the ear, to start my neck, and I go back, and you can draw through these areas because you're going to erase it anyways whenever you're done with your tracing. So then just follow this line here and try to keep an even spacing between it that gradually gets wider at the base of the neck. So that's the back of the neck, and then the front of the neck, you're going to want to add like a little throat down there, which is like just kind of like a rounded thing that goes into the jaw there, like that. And then you're going to want to do your best to make the neck like, I don't know the word for it, even, I guess. But once again, you're going to want it to gradually get wider as it goes into the base, but not by a lot. You want to like, if you can tell, it's thinner here and a little bit wider here, but you don't want it to be a lot wider, otherwise it's going to look funny. Sorry for the sniffles. I'm not sick, I promise. Just woke up a little bit ago, so I'm sleepy. So then you can erase the line for the neck, and you can start on the chest. So for the chest, you want to kind of start by tracing your circle, but then as you go, you're going to want to leave that circle and go like about almost to the middle of the body line. See, there's the middle of the body. You're going to want to go almost to the middle with your chest. And then you can go ahead and add the top half, and you don't entirely follow the circle for this part. I mean, you can, but it'd look weird. But you're going to want to go just under your circle and kind of follow the spine and keep an even spacing around your spine. And once again, through the waist, you're going to go just under that circle. Or at least that's what I do. Maybe some people follow the circle perfectly, but for me, I find it works best if you don't entirely follow the circle. So then once you do that, you're going to want to like freshen up your lines a bit, make sure everything meets at a appropriate angle, making everything look like right, I guess. So once you do that, you're going to want to add like a edge of the rib cage here and bring it up to reach the hip, or butt as we called it earlier, and then just go out like following the tail, trying to keep an even-ish spacing. But with the tail, it's a little bit different. Instead of going wider as you go thinner as you go, and it's really hard, this part, to me, because you have to find like the right gradual decline in the tail. So because if you like make it too thin too soon, it'll look weird. If you make it too fat for too long, it'll look weird. Like, you have to, the tail really, for me, is the hardest to get right. Now, you don't entirely have to follow your tracing for your tail. You make it look however you want that tail to look. You know, as long as it's not, like, weird. I mean, it can be weird if you like the weird style. I mean, you do you. So then, after you do the basic base of your dragon's body, now we have the head, the chest, the stomach, and the tail. You're going to start on your shoulder. So for the shoulder, you're going to want to start up here where this line is, where the spinal line is. You're going to start just above that, like about here. And you're going to draw like a rounded kind of half circle here. But once it gets closer to the base, you're going to go out a little bit more, like so. And then you're going to add your bicep, like so. Erase any unnecessary lines. Boop, 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 boop. And then on the opposite side, now dragons, they're supposedly muscular. So you're going to want to make the forearm, or I mean not the forearm, the bicep pretty wide. So, boop, that's a general spacing for you. And then once you come up to the shoulder, you just draw a line kind of upwards, like so, for the armpit. So then you can erase these lines in there, clear up your shoulder, your arm. And then you're going to want to add the forearm. At the base of the forearm, there's going to be like a bump, kind of, that leads down closer to the center line. Because if you look at your own forearm, there's like, it's wider up here and goes thinner at the wrist. So that's just what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to work around that. I know it's hard. Just try your best to get it down. And one thing that everybody has to like remember is that like art is trial and error. Like you're gonna erase a lot. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna look at other people's art and you're gonna think, oh my gosh, they're so much better than me. Like how, like what am I gonna do? I wish that I was as good as them. Like, of course you're going to think that. I look at some people's art that I see on YouTube or on Instagram, and I get so sad because, like, their art is gorgeous and my art is meh. And, of course, you guys are going to be all like, oh, your art's not bleh, but I know. But the point is that there's always going to be somebody better than you. There's always going to be somebody worse than you. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't compare yourself to somebody else because everybody has their own style. You shouldn't base your style off of somebody else's. Anyways, so here we're going to go into the foot and follow that line that you made. I know I just erased it, but shh, I can still see it. Follow that line that you made for the foot. Now, this is like the only time when it's appropriate to put a flat line for the footsie. Because if, like, it's just easiest that way, I guess. I mean, this is the only time I really do a flat line for the foot because the bottom of the foot is resting on the ground, and the ground is, not flat, but like flat enough to where you could put a straight line and get away with it. So then you draw a bump for the toesy, like a little hill. Boop, little hill. And then a little bump that's smaller for the knuckle. And then you're going to just lead that in to the ankle, like so. And then you can go ahead and draw a claw. Your claws can look however you want them to. They can be thin, they can be thick, they can be ginormous, they can be tiny. Doesn't matter. Whatever dragon you're drawing depends on whatever you want to do. I mean, it's your personality, your art, you do what you want, you know? Don't get discouraged. So then you draw the other foot, which is just a bump going up slightly farther out than the original bump, and then another bump in this little crook area here, and then you're going to want to lead that into the ankle as well. And then you draw a claw that will go out a little bit farther than the original claw. And there we have our footsie. So then after you're done with that, you can erase the lines in front of the arm here. Yay! And then we're going to go ahead with the back leg, because I find it's just more fun to do things in groups, and legs are a group. So here we go. The leg, you're going to want to start just inside the circle at the line, at the spinal line here, and you're going to go at quite a rounded line, like so, kind of like if you're trying to draw an oval right there. And then you're going to kind of leave a space blank for the knee and draw a mildly straightish, a little bit curved line for this shin here, like so. And then you're going to draw right here where this comes out, right in the middle of those two lines. You're going to draw a bump like so. And it's going to lead down closer to this, I'm not sure if that's called an ankle or like a heel or whatever, but it's something. So then you can go ahead and erase this a little bit. You're going to want it to lead into there slightly, but not all the way to the line, if that makes sense. So if you can see that. And then you're going to start right here at the crook of the calf, and you're going to trail up at, once again, a fat ovalish angle. And then you're going to want that to curl in a little bit more for the booty. And then you can go ahead and erase the lines up here, the little circle line and that, and leading into there. Now, some people choose to wait until they're entirely done with the form of the body to erase the lines. I just find it easier to make sure that it looks right if the lines are correctly drawn after I erase them. So then you're going to draw like a little circular, like if you want, it might help to actually draw a circle for the knee that will just poke out like so. Erase your little circle, and then yay, you got yourself a knee. Woohoo! So after that, you're gonna draw like a little thing sticking out from the back ankle thing, heel, ankle, whatever, and that's gonna house a little claw. It's like the back foot claw. I don't know what it's called. I'm not a dragon expert, but there we have that. And then you're gonna want to go down from the shin to make the little footsie, and then like so, go down, up, whichever direction you want to go, like that. And then once again, we're gonna do the only straight line, another bump for the toesy, bump for the knuckle, and then lead up into there, and then the claw, of course, and then another bump for the toesy, bump for the knuckle, and lead up. So then there we have our foot. Well, of course, you have to add the claw. I almost forgot. Ha ha ha, I do that all the time. Don't follow in my footsteps and forget the claws, because without claws, what is a dragon? What is a dragon without claws? I feel like that dragon would probably hate themselves as much as I hate me. Ha ha ha, just kidding. Okay, so, just gonna erase that. Next, you're gonna want to start on like the wing. Boop boop. And ooh, I'm getting a phone call. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ignore that. I'll get it later. So you're gonna want to start on the wing, and the wing has like a shoulder of its own, as you can see here. It's gonna go like up like so, and then you're gonna go into a gradually straighter line like so. And then bring the armpit up and out in a mildly straightish line, like so. I love how I'm contradicting everything I'm saying. Ha 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 ha. Shh, it's okay. Nobody's gonna watch this anyway. Because I'm not famous. I hope I will be one day, but I mean, hey, that's kind of far-fetched. I mean, look at me. I mean, don't look at me. You're not allowed to see me. But look at my hands. Do these hands look like somebody who's famous? Look at those cuticles. Ew. Ew. Off topic. Sorry. So once we have the bottom half of the wing, you can go ahead and erase the lines inside of there. And then you're going to want to add the top half of the wing, which is going to, once again, if you look down here where that bump leads down, you're going to want to start with a bump that leads up instead. Ha ha ha. And generally, I like to go into the skeletal line of the wing because that just helps me out with getting it like the right kind of shape, I guess. And then on the outer edge of this part of the wing, you're going to draw another kind of bump that straightens out a little bit as it goes. Whee! Geez, I've already been doing this for 26 minutes. It generally takes me like a couple of hours to completely draw and color a dragon, like typically around like 6 hours. So if you're expecting to get this entire drawing done in like 5 minutes, I'm sorry, but that's not realistic unless you're some kind of like miraculous speed draw artist. Anyways, for this part of the wing, that's like the elbow-ish area, you're gonna want to like draw a little line coming out from the elbow and a little nub on the end, kind of like a teardrop shape, and then it's gonna come back in and connect to this part of the wing. And then you can draw like a little elbowy thing here. Woo! Elbow. And then you're gonna want to draw like a little boop here at the top. Just like a slightly arched line there. And then go up a little bit at a little bit of an angle. And then back down. And then draw like a rounder shape. Go back up. That looks horrible. Let me retry that. Let me try that. Ignore everything that just happened for a second. All right. Go back down, circle, back up. That's a lot better. Okay. So here you're going to draw a claw. Woo. Now this is going to be a bigger claw than your toe claws or really any other claw on the body. Smaller than the horn though, obviously. The horn looks like a claw, so we'll count it. We'll count it. So once you have this shape, you're going to just kind of boop, straighten it off a little bit. And then you're going to start kind of in the middle of this shape right here. And you're going to draw an upward angle for like a knuckle for the wing. And then kind of like back down. Now here, it is easier-ish to draw the bottom part of the wing first. So you're going to want to bring that out. Depending on how big you want the wings, depends on how far out you're going to bring that. But you're definitely going to bring it quite a ways out farther than this. Quite a ways. Then you'll continue on with the upper area. And as you go out, you're going to kind of like section it off into 3 sections, right? And at each of these sections, you're going to draw another bump for a knuckle. And then bring it back out, and then another bump for a knuckle, and then bring it back out. And as you go on this last one, you're going to want to make it thinner as it goes out. And then you're going to want to draw like another teardrop shaped bump. Like so. And then right here, you're going to want to draw another one of those bumps, but it's going to be farther out than this one because that allows depth to be a thing. And then you're going to follow, or, well, not follow. We can just pretend this never existed because we're not really using it anyways. I never really use that part. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It really just depends. But for this one, after you draw your little bump, you're going to put something like this underneath it. And we're going to draw the underline first because that's just, once again, easier so that your wing looks more realistic, I guess the word can be. And you're going to go out into another teardrop shape. This one's going to be farther out than this one because that will be like kind of like the middle finger, if that makes sense. So then we'll go back here. Once again, 3 sections. Now this one, of course, is going to be different from this one because it's different length. It's going to have different sections of knuckles. So you're going to want to kind of try to keep the spacing between the 2 lines even-ish, except for at the knuckles, because otherwise it looks funky. So here, go back down, back up for a knuckle, and back down. Woo! There we are. Then you can go ahead and erase your helper lines. Get out of here, little helpers. Nobody needs you. And then once more, we're going to add a couple more knuckly things. But here, we're just going to skip the knuckle. And we're going to go up to here like so. Draw a knuckle just before it. Back down. Over. Draw another knuckle just before. And then down like so. And that's going to be the farthest back wing thingy. So we're going to go back down here, and we're going to start right at the edge of the leg. We're going to want a little bit of the leg poking up here, but we're going to start here and do kind of a in and out kind of thing. The curved line going up to the wing. Woo! And then we're going to once again do that here. This one, you don't want it to go out too far, just like so. You don't want it to match up to up here because this wing is folded over, and this is like probably going to be like a shaded area to show you that this is folded. If you can shade. I'm not the best at shading, personally. But anyways, you're going to want to add claws on the tips of these. Boop, boop. And your little things here. Let me just retry that. Oops. There we go. And then for up here, you're going to want to go a little bit past the line for the wing and then just bring that back like so, because that gives like a little bit of depth and shows you that it's not entirely flat, if that makes sense. So then underneath this, you're going to add another little nub because that's going to be this wings thingy. And then go ahead and add like another claw. Now this one's going to be behind this part, so you don't have to like obviously draw the whole thing, just like so. And then continue on with whatever else you're doing. So you're going to want to add like something on the back. That something can be fur, it can be spikes, it can be like crystals or feathers, whatever you want to draw on the back. For this one, I think I'm gonna draw like a fin, because who doesn't like fins? So we're gonna start right here, just draw like a little line backwards like so, and then just whoop, whoop, whoop. Now people have different ways of drawing these little fin thingies. I just am not the best at it, so I just kind of like do little boop, 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 boops, like so, and lead it back into the tail. Woohoo! Look at that, so good, so beautiful. Yeah, I'm lying. This is horrible. But anyways, you want to like fix your lines a little bit to make sure that everything's matching up, of course. Looks like we're getting a little bit short on time. So this is what I'm going to leave you with for now. Like and subscribe for part 2 of this dragon drawing extravaganza, and we will continue. Thank you so much for watching. This is Everyfin and Nuffin. Love you guys. Bye-bye.